discover because you have no idea. If it's, for instance, if it's a gray alien stands, right, for ancient people, that would be demonic. But for instance, do they have their personalities? Possible. Do they have their realizations of life and research and being very curious about human in a way because they might be attached to human? What if human we talked about possibilities of different timelines coexisting at the same time. What if this is some of the future of humanity? If humanity gonna jungle the nuclear weapons, that's what we're gonna mutate into. Maybe they may be coming back because traveling in time, traveling in space, technically traveling in time. Right? I'm traveling in space right now. I'm in space. It's a space. Agree? I'm in the future right now. Agree? It's from the movie. I'm not American. It's from the movie Paul. Now, what I'm doing right now? Did I move to the past? To the past right now? No. But I'm in the place where I just started up, right? But I'm in the future. Thank you. From this point, I was again in the future. I never came back to the past. This is why past is a perception. So they all coming from the future concepts of what from now could be. And everything wants to live. You try to squash the bug. Bug runs away. Bug doesn't go, hey, you kill me. No. It goes, I want to live. Like, don't touch me. Because how it's telling you that? By running away from you. So it doesn't want to be squashed. Same there. Maybe they research something to change the concepts that's happening here and now. So the other things might become different, shift into another, so to speak, concept of time and space and meaning, well, life. So they don't have to suffer like that. Thus, actually, technically saving humanity from becoming monsters. But again, I mean, you don't have to go far. Chernobyl, the hair falls out, the freaking things grow on your face and stuff, radiation and stuff. That's what humanity might come to. If we're gonna jungle all of this nuclear weapons around and stuff like that, and this is why they all over the nuclear places and shut down the rockets sometimes and stuff like that. They're showing what they can do, and they're showing that we're not gonna allow this to happen. There is a higher power, but it's not the way most of the people were taught. Jesus awaits me or the Muhammad awaits. No, those are like perceptions of teachings. Even like if you go, Jordan Maxwell. I think he passed away recently. He was talking about that. The signs, the symbols, the sun, because from S-O-N, S-U-N, and we see it every time in the sky, and ancients were worshipping the sun because the sun is a production of life. And you see, so why don't we have a huge responsibility side because we live in time of a fulfillment of information. You want to say yeah, I still have to catch up with some because they've done more. But I just recently was rewatching Abando. What was the one of them? I forgot. English is still my second language. Abando. Abando, right? Is that one? Yeah. I'm a big fan of Krishnamurti, for instance, because that's how that part starts, because he wasn't guru like this new Guruji, right, or whatever. Smart fella, but it's still religion in a way. Guruji, tell me what is going on, Guruji. No, he was Krishnamurti was not that. Krishnamurti was talking the mind, and there are many others like that. Like Jack Fresco, the others. That we spoke even about George Carlin and stuff. Like people were laughing, like when I said that George Carlin was a lot prophetic, and people were like, what do you mean? He was a comedian. And I was like, no. Using humor as a tool to deliver the info, so you can digest. If I'm come here like a prophet with a freaking stick, you're going, boom, you're all gonna run, and I'm gonna show you something in the sky. Oh, it's so negative. I don't want to deal with that. But if I'm going, hi guys, you know what? That's interesting. Because humans are sensitive beings. There's nothing wrong with that. We just need to understand each other. And from this competitive mind, we have to come to the collaborative mind. This is the only solution. And please have competition in the way of tournament. Measure your skills. I'm a better musician than you. Show me. I know Kung Fu. Show me. You see what I'm saying? I mean, not what I'm saying. I'm just quoting, but you see? Don't talk. Show me. And from that, I'll show You show me my house, show you yours, and maybe we're gonna build something. You know what I'm saying? But if you're gonna no, you know what? Stay there, stay there. That's not gonna work like that. And this is how society is these days. It's impossible to make even sense to many people because they already fixed their opinions based on fictitious stories and stuff. Like I had a girlfriend which we just started, and she was the influence for that relationship. She wanted that, and I went for that. I decided to check the opportunity, and it all started beautiful. Beautiful, really got a real conversation, smart conversation, stuff like that. Until I touched Jesus. Bang, she immediately broke up. And I was like, with all due respect, and she's a church goer, but she's one of those prosperity gospel things, which is complete nonsense. I mean, there's nothing bad to be rich and wealthy, but how many houses do you need? How many, what are you doing with your money? Are you gaining all of this wealth to build yourself airports and stuff like that? Because there are a lot of people suffering. If you call yourself the messenger or a worker of God, that's your task. That's what you're here. Go do it. That's part of it. But they don't. So you see, but it's comfortable to believe in this fictitious character that is maybe because I believe in its power and because it's going to get me to the better place and stuff like that. You didn't pass the test. What are you talking about? When you come into karate school, they don't give you black belt immediately. You start with the white belt and you go all the way until you hit the mastery. First degree, first dan. And then there's a whole another universe of black belts. So with all due respect, how is this different? How is this different just because you don't obtain your own experience, your own power. You believe in someone else's experience. It's like worshiping movie stuff. Okay, these people done it. They have a baggage of a great legacy. You don't. You don't. You're just a follower. What's the point of that? You see, it's like this movie Instinct with Anthony Hopkins and Virginia. It's a great movie, and they talk about, he's like, what we cannot let go of control, which is like, what, is it too scary to become a god? And you know what I mean? Like, God is a spirit, it's a consciousness. And from that, if we obtain this collective consciousness and understanding, please, everybody gonna stay different anyway. You have your gift of personality, I have my gift of personality, so is everyone else. And there's no variety, there's no life. There's another freaking thing that humans need to understand on concepts and based on racism and you're from my tribe, I'm not from my tribe. There's no variety, there's no life. So from that, it's a simple kind of explanation that from which can come conclusion of what to do. And all of this information is already given. All you need to do is to put the dots together, and from this mosaic, from little piece by piece, you get the whole picture. Mapping. I call it mapping. You're just mapping the whole situation.
My YouTube subscribers eat this shit up, dude.
Oh, you were filming me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
I
Johnny
missed-
Depp on your ass.
I missed the first 10 minutes.
She
But,
filmed me illegally, which is bullshit. You can use it, bro. It's my pleasure. But also like she filmed me illegally and stuff.
remember we did that little thing on the boat, talking about the UFOs and all that? Everybody's just like, we need more. So,
Yeah, they want to know. Things change.
he asked the right question, I
Supposedly
guess.
things changing now. Like it's not like what I was talking the last time. Actually, certain perception already changing as we speak.
Perception of what?
Perception of certain forces from what people call eons, or we call it elementals. You also can come to the point that eons. Eons are not ages. Eons were measured. Eons are beings that pretty much in a very high stage of this development of what human could call soul. And let's say, could our universe be in another universe? And could that universe be in another universe, and at some point you do not have the body. You are electrical, but when your soul comes out, and everyone who's been out of body experience, it is real, you conceive yourself in orb. So at some point, your entire consciousness conceived in electrical orb that is conscious, that makes decisions, but you just don't have human experience. And these are like considered to be very ancient beings, but they're not really ancient in a way. What happens here is, as far as the research and even experience at some point shows, the future timelines come and manipulate the past. So what we think came from the past actually came from, we just discussed that, right? With this little junky thing. So they always come to the future. What they do is they're creating new outcomes of the future by controlling the past. From the future. Thank you. Precisely. So you see how it works? And those are like what we call also like elementals and stuff like that. Those are like the concept of soul in a way that doesn't need embodiment anymore, because it exists on such levels of frequency that it contains itself in the information of electrical charge. Yeah, it's all about your frequency, our frequency. And we vibrate differently, although we... frequencies or vibrations? Well, frequency is vibration technically. Same thing, it's just the terminology. You know, because we do vibrate. You know, on different what do you call it, on different levels, but at the same time what we do, we add up each other. Different frequencies, but we add up each other. From that we create this massive collective consciousness that basically what humans call God. Because the word God did not come from concept of realization what is out there. What happens here is the word God came from the word good. This is why they all say in churches, God is good. They don't even know what they're saying. Now the word God was invented by certain, because languages were actually given to humanity at some point. Because all this let us come down and confuse the language and stuff like that. Because there's some of those extraterrestrials, they were what they call gods of language. They knew different and they were teaching, and of course, you know, because what if we're talking about fall and rise of different civilizations and we only one level? And from that, certain forces come and create life in their image and likeness by genetic experimentation that not necessarily works out right away. They might spend times and times of years, you name it, to get to this point when it becomes mama, papa, oh okay, it's okay. We finally succeeded. But you know, and then they might even, how these lower dimensional things happen. Well, maybe some beings end up in this lower condition because of comprehensions that they have about reality. They don't maybe have to stay there. You know what I'm saying? But because look at us, right? We don't have to stay in a condition of such thoughts. And we get in, we have answers, but collapsing because differences. You know, mine. No, ours. But again, you see, when you say or what they call preach such things, they call you a commie, you know, socialist and stuff like that. Well, you're a socialist. When I came to America, I actually came to communist country. I'm sorry. Everywhere I go, I see community. What is communism? It's community. I'm not talking about rad version, right? For instance, Jacques Fresco, he didn't create new communism and stuff. That's not that at all. But this print of civilization doesn't contain money whatsoever. It's not needed. Because money is an illusion that actually keeps us and holds us bonded and in chains. We're dragging these chains, invisible chains, every day. Mortgage, debt, you know, it's crazy. People go nuts. I understand that. I'm going through my hardships that I don't want to go. They actually distracting me from who I am and what I'm here to achieve. And this is the same for everyone else. In their own versions of being, you know. Right. But I was about to say illusionary. It actually turned you, and I understand that. I turn to that sometimes in my life too as well. It's like, fuck everything, you know, and stuff. I'm tired from this shit. Fuck humanity, fuck all of it, you know. But then you understand that this is kind of like situation of your perception at this point where you're running away from the answer. That you might even become this so-called tool of giving those answers if you're going to start walking your path and in your own experience. But for that, you need to get away from unnecessary habitat. Habits.
think we achieve this giving consciousness through an entity like government. I think we have to come to it on our own, person to person. It has to become part of who we are.
Yes, sir.
Um,
Yes, sir. That's, yeah.
the lie is that, you know, the collective is this majority that is ruling the government, you know, that is government rules over us.
Which is not supposed to be doing. Government is supposed to serve the people. That, yeah. Everybody knows. I mean, we're not opening.
Yeah, but at some point we've consented, obviously, to the government ruling over us, serving it.
Yeah. And they have their own reasons and their perceptions why, because at some point and on some levels of understanding, they see all of that as a cattle,
Well, they were told that,
which they are part of. That's also their fault. Why it's cattle?
yeah, they were told that they were virtuous, that they were, you know, good and benevolent if they had this collective thought through government.
Right.
See, government's kind of like wrangled it, controlled it now, says, okay, we're going to, because it's only serves itself. So, I mean, that's the problem that we, I think, run into. It's only gonna, get better, when we change. And I don't know how we do that, because, you know, government's got, the media and government work together in such a powerful
Well,
way.
they took over, and unfortunately, people allowed them to take over. And
We've consented to everything, kind of like my daughter who got kidnapped the other day, and he told her what to do, and she just followed everything he did until she crashed her car, and luckily got away from it. You know, I mean, it's the same concept. I mean,
is that what does that really happen, or are you just making it up?
it actually happened the other day.
Wow.
And she's fine.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
She got kidnapped by, like, about to be, like, by some guys in the car or something?
Yeah, a guy.
A guy.
But she was so frightened that she only could react by being nice. She thought, okay, if I be nice, then he won't hurt me. You know, so
With all due respect, sorry for cutting you off. This is why a lot of people smile at you when you walk in. Like, for instance, with all due respect, ladies a lot they smile. They're not necessarily mean
Well, I
that.
thought
That's a
they were
protection.
smiling.
That's a protection. That's a protection in case that if I want to be friend, if I'm going to be friends, that's simple psychology. If I'm going to be friends, then maybe nothing's going to happen. You see, we need to change this perception, but for that, this perception has to come and go because you cannot feel threatened. And people, especially the tender people, or they feel threatened because there are a lot of wackos out there with screwed consciousness, you know. And they believe me, some people are not even alone.
she was her more.
We were talking about possibility of other dimensions and stuff like that. Human beings is a dimension too. That's what religious people call possession.
So this was in like at UCLA, and started there, and then she drove, and then crashed her car, called me out, the cops were there. Anyway, so she, and evidently,
Good, she's fine.
he wanted to go, asked her if she lived alone, this and that, wanted to, you know, and she started driving, he goes, well, drive to the beach. And so she started driving me, you know, and I said to her, at any point at all, did you like think, oh, he doesn't know where I live, why don't I just take him to my dad's house? I mean, I was like, you know, I said, if you would have done that, everything would have been resolved in a second. You know, you would have brought him right up to the apartment.
Right.
It would have been perfect.
Of course. Actually, it was a good idea.
But she's too afraid to think of anything except for crashing her car. So it was, thank God she crashed her car, and a car saw it that was driving behind her, and they stopped. And everybody took off running.
It was right on the freeway. And another time, this car flipped right on the spot. I don't know what happened because this guy, and we ran out. It's like, what happened? Because it was right in front of us, and all of a sudden it goes, whack, boom, like that. And he's like, there was a person here right now. There was a person here right now with me. And there was nobody else but in the car but him. But the other door was open actually, as well. But it could open from the impact. So,
You know, for me,
stranger things.
for
Coming
me,
up.
For me, money is you know, I don't need a lot of money. All I need is to be able to do whatever I want to do, just like this Neptune. You know, that's what everybody wants to do, so they can live out and become their intended self.
Right?
Right? So, but you know, it just it, until you get to that point, you know, for me, since I've already said government's not the way to go to do this, but you know, I try to be charitable in my life. I try to, you know, help other people become, you know, find the pleasure in life, you know, because essentially, you know, what life's supposed to be all about is, should we find some pleasure in this whole process?
Just not just pleasure, but the pleasure that creative. Because there's destructive pleasure.
Yeah, I'm talking, of course.
But of course,
Yeah, I'm talking about, yeah.
Like this guy, to him to abduct, at least to try to abduct your daughter, to him it was pleasure, but it's not. It's a hellish pleasure.
Yeah, well, for somebody like that, my pleasure, you know.
Right. See, to fulfill the justice and to protect the and this is actually creative pleasure in a way. It's really
Oh, that's the end of the fight. I'll just show you a bit of the fight.
I just want to rearrange his face so that it's
No, the pigs don't have any. This is not a dying season.
Oh, that's the end of that. Sorry. I keep.
Too late.
I just want to get to the beginning of the fight.
Too late. This is not a dying scene from Shakespeare.
Hell yeah.
I like sound effects.
Fuck yeah, dude. That's awesome.
Cool.
I love when you
Yeah.
kicked him up on the dumpster.
I know, right? It's like the momentum suddenly.
Yes, it's like
Talking to my son. What are you doing?
Video.
What are you doing?
Take a little video.
Oh, okay.
For the class.
I'm talking to my son. It's kind of a serious conversation.
Every Saturday, 1 o'clock, 1432 4th Street.
so. And so then this is what I filmed at a boxing gym.
So you let it go. Look, one day, under the most perfect circumstances, your dream might walk in the door. That thing, that unresolved issue that you never got to resolve, could walk in the door,
Circle, yeah, it comes back. Yeah.
and you can fulfill your pleasure in that moment. I'm speaking hypothetically, of course.
Right, but you know why we affected this deep from all of this that's happening around, and it's hard to get away from this because we are interconnected. The last guy on the street, the biggest dude with the Bentley, and all of that interconnected. And if people would understand this, we would stop effing up each other. Because otherwise, we have to collapse as a species, and someone else has to take over, meaning take the place. It's a beautiful planet. We're not alone, by the way. The possibility of others hidden all over the place, with all these